how did you find your new quarters? I trust you were able to rest? I was not aware the room was haunted, and you were rather tired. Well, should you receive another visitation, be sure to let me know. Now, let us return to the subject of the Scion's whereabouts. This map shows the lands of Norvrand, the only area to be spared the flood of light. The Crystarium is here, in the region known as Lakeland. To the north is the fairy kingdom of Eulmore. That is where you'll find Urianger. To the east lies the once prosperous civilization of Rak-Tika. Your Stola is stationed there, in the heart of the forest. Alas, neither location can be reached without considerable difficulty. As such, I would suggest you first seek out one of the twins, each of whom is stationed but a short flight from the Crystarium. Alphinaud is on Khalusia, an island off the western shore. It is home to a city called Eulmore, where the rich and privileged while away their days in idleness. For his part in furthering our cause, Alphinaud journeyed there to meet with the citizenry and forge alliances. From what I hear, he has since kept himself busy gathering information around the main settlement. Alizé, meanwhile, traveled south to the arid wastes of Eulmorean. They lie upon the very edge of the inhabitable world, where the flood of light was halted. Those who dwell there live in constant fear of attack by the Sin-Eaters. In contrast to her brother, Alizé felt that her energies would better be spent learning about the enemy, and thus she sells her services as a guard, both to hone her skills and gather information on our foe. So, will it be Khalusia or Eulmorean? It matters not which you choose to visit first. Simply inform me once you have made your decision, and I will see to it that you are provided with a suitable mount. Ah, but you must be wondering about Thancred. He has taken up with a new companion, and is presently engaged as a wandering hunter of Sin-Eaters. Being ever on the move, his whereabouts are often difficult to ascertain, but I am certain your paths will cross ere long.
The whistling breeze, mute. The pounding surf, frozen. Time itself takes a breath. At light's edge, all is perfectly still. The world captured in a painting, locked in a moment. Music, faint and fleeting, drifts coastward on the lifeless air. And in the distance, beyond the broken earth, a city beckons.
And how is business today, Mistress Theva?
Oh, frenetic. Look, I have a new customer.
Tis good to see you, my friend. The barley seeds you wanted. They should produce a better harvest than the last.
What, just like that? Oh, Alphinaud, you really are a dear. Well, I'd best be tidying up some of those empty shacks before the pests move in. Keep an eye on the place while I'm out, eh?
It seems an age since last we spoke. Not since the prisoner exchange in Doma. And Yotsu. It has been even longer for me, of course, if you count the days I've spent here. But the time has only added to the relief I feel seeing you safe and well. Huh. Alize said much the same thing. I don't think I've ever had such a scolding. But I believe an exchange of news is in order. Come, tell me of your arrival and all that came before. I see. Both the Exarch and Alize told me what they knew of events, but I had stubbornly clung on to the hope that all-out war might yet be avoidable. And poor Tataru. She must be sick with worry. We must endeavor to return as soon as we may. It would be nice to bring her good tidings for a change. But before we bid this world farewell, we must first ensure that it is not rejoined to the source. We must prevent the 8th Umbral calamity. Urianger's vision of the future has, I fear, every chance of coming true. By his description, the catalyst for the calamity was a formless and deadly weapon employed by the Garlean Empire. Which can only mean one thing. Black Rose. Gaius was telling you the truth. When we were on the trail of the Ascians, we saw evidence that the gas was being manufactured once more. Gaius was adamant that the project had been scrapped, but so long as there are wars to be waged, there will always be those determined to win by any means. And thus simply destroying the existing stores of Black Rose would do little to alter fate's course. In that sense, our involuntary journey here to the First was something of a boon. Together with the Exarch, we've developed a theory as to how we believe the rejoining will be set in motion. I'm sure Urianger himself will cover the subject in more detail. But I can tell you the process requires that both worlds, the Source and the First, be facing an existential threat. One being Sin-Eaters, of course. They are a menace that I would dearly love to remove, and not just to avert a calamity. I may be a stranger to this world, but I will not stand idly by and let innocent people be slaughtered. That is what brought me to the gates of Eulmore. Ignoring its pretensions as a kind of capital city to what remains of the world, it is nonetheless a center of power and authority. If any solutions are to be found, I believe our search should begin there. What say you, old friend? Hungry for another adventure? And so we take to the road once more. That gate up ahead is known as the Open Arms, and Eulmore itself lies beyond. This, meanwhile, is the aptly named Gatetown, the dwelling place of the many desperate souls who hope to be chosen to live in the city proper.
Ah, I thought I recognized you. Brought a new friend, eh? I'll bet you got a trick or two up your sleeve. Maybe even 3. Care to show me?
He's not here to compete. Leave him be.
What? I was only making conversation.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please! Greetings to our hopeful petitioners, one and all! Eulmore extends its warmest regards. Let it be known that a lady of distinction wishes to dine on fish divine. We seek a master culinarian who can guarantee seafood perfection. Dazzle the matron with your delicious dishes, and life in the city will be yours to enjoy, even on days when fish is not on the menu! Who among you will answer the call? Name yourself or another. We might not at all.
Fish, is it? Was there anyone?
What about that girl?
Do you recall how I said Eulmore was a center of power and authority? Well, that is not the only reason for its fame. It is also known as the City of Final Pleasures. The noble and the wealthy who survived the flood gathered here to live out the rest of their days in decadent abandon. A poor man could sooner pass through the Iron Needle than Eulmore's gates. The only way the common folk can enter this perverted paradise is if they fulfill the whim of one of the privileged, and so they are picked over like market produce.
What a catch! We'll not be throwing this one back. Having seen your all too obvious charms, we welcome you with open arms. Come, join us in a city of splendor and live out your life in an ecstasy of endeavor. Oh, just look at those expectant faces. What could you possibly be waiting for? Well, what have we here? An extra share of meal to celebrate our newest resident! For you!
Ah, at last!
Enjoy!
Thank goodness.
Meal is a foodstuff which Eulmore routinely doles out to the people of Gatetown, and apparently a staple for its citizens as well. Many here rely on it to survive in these times of scarcity. Yet the whole arrangement just seems... well, let us just say it leaves a bad taste in my mouth. There you are. The thief who claims the harvest on my behalf. Hand it over.
Well, forgive me. I have to get into the city. I have no family and all my friends have already been chosen. No one here gives a damn about me. When the meal gets handed out, I'm lucky if I get a smell of it. No matter what I do, they won't call out my name. I'm so tired, I'm so bloody hungry. I thought maybe I could steal your idea, get in that way.
What is your name?
Kai-Shirr.
Tell me then, Kai-Shirr. Must it be Eulmore or nothing? What of the Crystarium? They may not offer charity, but you would be fairly compensated for any work you did.
No, it has to be Eulmore. That's where all my friends are. We made a promise that we'd live together in paradise.
I was to make my deal with the Ondo at the Clave. Listen carefully, and I shall tell you my plans for the business, and how best to arouse the Eulmoreans' interest.
You'll give me your place? Just like that?
I'm giving you a chance, nothing more. What comes of it is entirely up to you.
I understand. Oh, thank you, thank you!
This was but one path. There will be others. But for young Kai-Shirr, it was the difference between life and death. I do not regret my decision, yet I will admit that a part of me wonders if it was for the best. We strive to bring swift salvation to this world, that countless lives might be saved, not least your own. Even if it came at the cost of one man, should I have forged on regardless? I suppose not. Were Astinian here, he would most likely scoff at my soft-heartedness.
Same old Alphinaud, ever the slave to sentiment.
But I thank you for your kind words nonetheless. Let us see to it that both these stories have a happy ending. Shall we return to Rite then? Is that... I can't be sure, but I think someone's in trouble. Come on, they may need our help.
Redemption is beyond us. The lament of all but saints and fools, and the comfort of the lords and ladies of this accursed place. Once they held fast against the madness, only to embrace the coming cataclysm and delight in the end of days. Perhaps in rapture they seek to lose themselves and the misery they share. Or perhaps for them alone, the promise of eternal pleasure really does hold true.
Who's this then?
Lord and Lady Chai, pray forgive our intrusion. I am given to understand you are in search of an artist.
Ah, you must be the new,
Oh, goodness me! What an adorable boy!
That silken hair, those pearly cheeks, oh, and you even smell wonderful, like a bed of flowers. I approve of this one, dearest. I am positive he'll paint us the most delightful pictures.
Yes. Well, as long as he paints better than that talentless wretch we sent packing last week.
Wonderful, wonderful! Welcome to Eulmore.
Alphinaud, if it please you, my lady. And this is my assistant.
Your assistant? I've heard of folk bringing in family members, but this seems a bit irregular. Aren't you a little young to have a protege?
We are family in all but name, my lord. Though we share no blood, we have stood by each other through life's many challenges, resolved to prevail together or not at all. Of all people, 'tis he who best understands my work. With his unique insight guiding my hand, the art I create is sure to satisfy your expectations. Once the picture is begun, of course, I shall have no need of constant encouragement. And so I wondered, rather than him being in your way, might it then be permissible for my assistant to explore the city he has so longed to see? Out of gratitude for his priceless contribution to my art, I thought it only fair that I make this humble request on his behalf.
Ooh, did you ever hear of such devotion? Of course your assistant must have his wish. He shall be free to roam to his heart's content. Isn't that right, darling?
Oh, yes. Yes, of course, dearest. Quite right.
That's him. That's Vauthry. He's attended by sin-eaters. But how does he keep them from attacking?
Mercy! Mercy!
By the 12. Kai-Shirr, what happened to you?
Who are these impudent louts? I do not recall requesting their presence.
Lord Vauthry, what is the meaning of this? Why is this poor man bleeding to death on your floor?
Why? You ask me why? Because criminals must be punished. And this man is guilty of fraud. He came to us, claiming to be a man of business. Yet his subsequent conduct has shown him to be anything but. Eulmore is a city built on love for one's fellow man. Those who have naught to give and live only to take are a blight upon our society! To atone for this crime, I ordered that he fling himself from the balcony. And he had the temerity to weep. Please, my lord, anything but that. What then is a man of mercy to do? But offer the sinner another way to show his contrition.
Another way? Meaning what exactly?
Sin-eaters are part of Eulmore's society, but they must be fed with ether. Living ether. So, I demanded an offering of flesh, carved by his own hand, from his own hide. And still, he could not do as I asked. A wholly unsatisfactory performance.
Tis true that Kai-Shirr won his place here by fraud, but his actions were driven only by a desire to share in your paradise. That you would cast him out I could almost accept, but to humiliate him thus, to demand his very life? Is this truly the way of Eulmore?
Oh, you dim, deluded child. Have you ever paused to consider what it takes to maintain such a paradise in this barren, broken world of ours? The guarantee of safety and stability. The knowledge that if one only abides by the rules, one has naught to fear. I alone can offer these things, for I alone can command the Sin-Eaters. And thus am I alone the voice of justice, and any who oppose me, villains to be punished.
And people call this paradise.
You were granted a place in my city for a particular skill. What was it?
Painting.
Oh, an artiste! Then you shall paint a picture for me of Eulmore. If I find your art pleasing, then I may excuse this display of insolence. Who gave you permission to tend to that criminal's wounds? I told you to paint me a picture!
What you need is a mirror, not a painting. It will capture the horror I see before me far better than I ever could. Can you walk?
I think so.
Did that little worm just insult me? I'll kill them! I'll kill them all! I'll enslave their minds! I'll torment them! Torture them! Then tear out their hearts!